Welcome. I see some people from Ohio, Texas, Las Vegas, Alabama. Hello. To those just joining, welcome to our second webinar for this month, for the month of May. Our topic today is how to teach special education virtually at Stride Inc. Feel free to say your name and the state that you're coming from in the chat box, and we will start in about a minute. Right, I see some folks from Florida and New York, California, Arizona, South Carolina. Welcome, 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 welcome. Hoping this will be an informative meeting for everyone, and we will have a couple of our panelists to be talking to you all shortly, and then we'll also have a Q&A session towards the end of our webinar. All right, so we are going to get started. Again, if you are just joining, welcome to our second webinar for the month of May on how to teach special education virtually at Stride Inc. My name is Andrea Wilson, and I work in our HR department for our people experience team. And we typically have a webinar each month, and we try to cover a range of topics. So this month we're talking about how to apply earlier in the month, and today we wanted to talk about special education. That's one of the topics that we get a lot of questions about, so we wanted to give a space for a special education webinar for those that are interested. So some of the panelists that are joining me today, I'm going to have them to just quickly introduce themselves and their role and how long they've been with K-12, and then you'll be hearing from them a little bit in a few minutes after I give an introduction on who we are. So Jennifer, if you want to start, and then Lena.
Hi, good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock where I am, so I'm sure it's a different time where everybody else is. I'm excited to be here. I've been with Alva, Stride, K-12. This will be going on my 4th year, and I was in brick and mortar for 9 years before that. I have taught from self-contained 1st through 5th, all the way beyond the high school. And I have done severe to resource to co-taught, and hands down, the virtual is the way to go. My stress level literally went from like 100 to a 0, guys. I'm not even gonna lie about that. You get such reinforcement, such help with everything. It is the best of all worlds. It truly, truly is. I love what I do. I'm kindergarten resource right now. I have about 11 on my caseload, and I absolutely am in love with my job, in love with my kids, and in love with my role. So I'm happy to be here.
And hi, I'm Lena Ruck. I'm a specialist with the talent development team. So this is my 13th year in education. I've actually, last year was what I call my pivot year. So now I've had more years virtual than I had brick and mortar. I had about 6 brick and mortar. So I'm going into my 8th year online. And I started at an Insight branded school where we were grades 6 through 12. And I am middle school, but special education certified as well. In Ohio, we call them intervention specialists. So we got our own fun name for them, but in general, I'm a special educator. So I've been online now. I have also, Jennifer, like you, I've had middle school and high school. I've not had elementary. Thank goodness. I do better with the older kids, but I have had a variety of settings. And then I transitioned to an instructional coach, and now I work with teachers and making sure that we not only love our teachers well and set them up for success, but we continue to support teachers in growing in the direction that they want to grow, and inspiring teachers to continue to want to be the best teacher they can be.
Thank you, ladies. And again, you will be hearing from them shortly. I just wanted to let folks know, just in case this is your first webinar that you have come to. Again, we're Stride Inc., but we were formerly K-12. Now, as far as our schools, they are still under K-12. But what prompted us to change to Stride Inc. is because we realized that learning is not just from K through 12, it's lifelong. So we've acquired some other companies such as Galvanize, MedCerts, Tech Elevator, and Hack Reactor. Those companies help with coding boot camps. They help with, for MedCerts, is for medical certification. So we help children as far as after school, after high school, moving on to career development. So again, we're trying to incorporate the lifelong learner, not just K through 12. So before we dig in, wanted to give just some disclaimers as far as terms that we may talk about today that can vary from state to state. Again, they may say interventionists or special education teachers, but we're going to, use the terminology special education. And just to also let you know that each of our K-12 schools that serve special education, it can vary by the population or the way that they serve the population as well. So we wanted to make sure we stated that before giving you more information about us. And just an example of some of the schools that we have schools that may just be high school, so they serve at-risk students. Actually, a shameless plug, tomorrow we will be having a meet and greet with Insight Michigan, and they serve as a high school as well for at-risk students. So if there are any Michigan people that are on today and they're interested in hearing more about that specific school, you can register for that webinar, which is tomorrow. But we do serve at-risk schools that could be just high school, and we do offer schools that are more focused on career readiness or career technical education. So each of our schools has a different feel. So that's why we want to just make sure we're telling you in general that it can vary. So you'll see that from the different slides that we go through. So I'm going to turn it back to Lena to talk to us about how we serve our students and how we meet with them virtually.
So there are kind of two components to our education system. We have asynchronous instruction and synchronous instruction. So Neuro is our point of contact, so to speak, to bring teachers and students together. And the one we use is called Neuro. And Neuro is a web-based conferencing tool, but what I really love about Neuro is that you can see faces on it. And it's so awesome to be able to see students, but we also have whiteboard tools, a YouTube video tool. We have a tool in there that lets you organize your content for your class that you're going to be using with your students. And so there are ways you can also see your students' progress by using Neuro. So that's what we use across our systems. It helps keep consistency for our students to stay with us year over year. And so as a special educator, and it really obviously depends on their IEP and their least restrictive environment, but you may see students in small groups or one-on-one, or they may also be in an inclusion setting where they may be with multiple students. So it's really the gamut, but we all primarily are using Neuro to really interact live.
So now we'll talk about our IEP meetings and those that may not have heard that terminology, individualized education program. So I'll have Jennifer to talk a little bit more about how those work virtually.
This was one of the big draws for me, was the IEP meeting process. And if you're in the brick and mortar, you are familiar with having to plan the meeting, get the notices back, coordinate the whole gamut of everybody. Well, the beautiful and wonderful thing here with my school, at least, is we actually have a compliance team and they do it for you. I know. Everybody's like, right? So think about it. You're a special ed teacher that doesn't have to write the IEP and doesn't have to schedule the meeting because it's done for you. I'm gonna let you just ingest that for a second, digest that, okay? Yes. So we actually have a compliance team that we have different people that work with the different grade settings, and they actually contact the parents, schedule the meeting, all of the reevals, all of that stuff, and you're just invited to it. Now they will send you the draft and let you read the draft, and they welcome any input that you want to add to it to make it more personable. But now, and I do read those, and I do, if I can give them any little tidbit, like, little Johnny sits in there, and he's always answering questions. The parents love any personalization when it comes to their child. So when you can take that part away from your job and you're not having to worry and stress about that, I mean, think about how much more brain power can go toward your classes in the new row. And I was very scared when we did the new row because I was like, I don't know that I can do this, because we went from Blackboard to new row, but you can. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So we do still do it just like everybody else. We still have the IEP meetings, the 3-year reevals, all of the, 30, 60, 90 day timelines and things like that, but you're not in charge of it, So I'm like, holy moly, like I'm teaching, but without that dreaded part there. But you're still getting it. I know, right? You still get to do the whole thing. I was like, whoa, is this for real? Because I didn't even think my job was real. I was like, this is not real. But then I was like, I'm going to try anyway. And I did, and I got it. And I was like, whoa. So I told all of my friends, I was like, guys, are you tired at your job? Are you tired? I know you're tired. It's the end of the year. It's IEP time, right? Come on over here and come apply with me. You know what I'm saying? So the IEP, everything is still the same way. It's just you are not responsible for it. You incorporate it and you teach to it, but you don't have to write it and you don't have to worry about all that. So how is that? How do you already apply? I know, right? Stay tuned and find out.
The beauty of one of the larger school structures in our system. So unfortunately, some of our smaller schools, it's still part of your position.
Thank you, ladies. So as far as I'm sorry, I went back and I meant to go forward. Okay, so we're going to move to the type of training is provided to our new teachers and how that's done. I'm sorry, I keep going back.
That's all right. So training provided. We really support teachers from the very beginning. We have both a school level process of supporting our new teachers with training, but also a national level of support for our new teachers. So our new teachers coming in at the national level have both live trainings where you meet in Neuro, the platform you'll be using to teach your students, but you'll also have asynchronous courses in K-12 training that will prepare you for some of the other pieces that comes along with being a teacher online. And then as far as the school level team will help support you with your IEP writing software. They will make sure you know your processes of your school, because not all states and not all schools have the same process or pathway, especially schools that support a variety of students have different processes for how they meet students' needs. So they'll make sure you know those and what the policies are for grading, for making sure you're meeting your IEP minutes, and for scheduling IEPs or holding IEPs. So lots of onboarding, lots of training, lots of support, and lots of love and guidance too, because we want our teachers to come in feeling supported and we want your students to do well. Yes. And I'm sure Jennifer will agree too, is not only do our school teams love on our teachers, but so does the national team. We don't come in because we want to change the world. We want to come in because we want to help you and help you grow. And we want your students and you to be successful.
Okay, so another question we wanted to address was what would the caseload ratio be for a special education teacher? Now, I do know that can vary, but Jennifer, if you just wanted to talk about what it's like for you at your school at Alabama Virtual Academy.
All right, so I've worked on both ends of the spectrum. I was with the AAA, the Alabama Alternate, the severe group. And at that point, I think I had about maybe 16 kids. And now I'm kindergarten resource and I have 11. So it can vary. And then with the kids, registering, and then if they do not comply, sometimes they leave for whatever reason, your numbers are going to change, but they are totally doable. And when she's talking about that you guys get help, I've never had so much help in my life. I mean, from team leads to, collaborative teachers, to gen ed teachers, to everybody. You can't go wrong. And if you do, it's because you truly just do not want to do your job. There is no way to screw it up. If I can do it again, anybody can do it. So like I said, I've had like 16 and I've had like 11, and I've also had as few as 9 before. So it really, it depends, but virtual is the way to go. That's the way everybody's going. And I have 3 monitors and I adore it. So.
Now, I did see some questions in the chat as far as applying and how that works. Before we just jump to be preparing your questions, because we will come back to that, but I want to talk about what that is like applying and the different positions that we currently have. If you are interested in applying for a position, please note we do require having certification, and you have to be certified in your state to teach. I did see someone asking about if they are able to apply to multiple states. You have to be certified in the state of the school that you're wanting to teach in. So for example, if you're trying to teach in Alabama, you would have to make sure that your certification is in Alabama, and that you also a residency requirement that you live in that state as well. To apply for positions on our website, and we have put the link in the chat box, you would be going to our website, stridelearning.com/careers, and then you would be clicking on, for our academic roles, clicking on the teaching and academic job board. Once you do that, you can search for, we put an example of a school, which would be TOPS is like our Texas school. You can search by either state, or you can search by the particular name if you know the title of that, but you can search specifically by the state that you are certified in and you're located in. Once you create an account on our website, then you will go ahead and apply to a position. After you apply, our recruiters will review the applications. If you are asked to move forward, then we will send you an invite to do a interview, a pre-recorded interview through HireVue. HireVue is our interview platform that we use. And you would pre-record a lesson, and then there will also be a data piece that you would conduct as well. And then after that, that will be reviewed again by the recruiter and the hiring manager. And again, if selected, then you will move to a second interview, which would be still virtual, but it would be more of a face-to-face. So it would be a live interview virtually that you would have. And then after that interview, again, if they ask to move forward, then you would be extended an offer by the recruiter. But that is how the application process and the job search would go. Again, we just wanted to make sure we reiterate that you must have your certification in the state and be also resident of the state that the school is and that you're applying to. So I'm going to go back. Oh, I'm sorry. And some jobs that we do have right now, as far as special education specific, we do have a special education position in Alabama. We also have a middle school, high school, looking for a teacher for one of our schools in Kansas. And we also have a special education position in Oklahoma and Oregon. Again, you can go onto our website to look further at different states. If you don't see your specific state under this, again, I just did a few because we do have a lot of positions that are open on our site, and there may be people that are not special education, but you may be interested in teaching. We do have roles available now for the 2021-2022 school year. And then we also do have corporate roles for those that may be on here that may not be looking for teaching positions, or they're just looking for corporate roles. We do have those available too. And these are just a few of the many positions that we do have on our site. So I just wanted to make sure I highlighted that before we jumped into our questions. And I do see a lot of interaction in the chat. So let's see if we can answer any. And Jennifer or Lena, if you saw anything specific, feel free to hop on the microphone. I'm just looking through the chat box.
While everybody's looking, I would like to also go over some perks, okay? As if working from home wasn't perk enough. You're saving gas with the gas situation that's going on. It's the perfect job if you have littles at home. You do have to be able to where, you can teach mostly uninterrupted, but I love the fact that I can take my children to school. I can take a break to pick my children up from school. So you can really be there. Besides that, I cannot speak for all schools. I can speak for my school. We get paid twice a month. Okay, so in addition to, that not writing your IP, well, for us anyway, I want you to think about that. In the brick and mortar, we were always paid once a month. And if anybody knows how hard it is to stretch a paycheck for an entire month because you were the brokest at the end, we get paid twice a month. We also, depending, on our teacher scores and our, enrollment and things like that, we are allotted a bonus, which does vary. And we do get pay raises every year. Now, it may not be much and it may be a little more. It all varies, but those are some huge perks to go along with being a virtual teacher. I absolutely adore where I'm at. No stress. I'm in this, the sanctity of my own home. I know everything that's going on. You come be my coworker. Come on now. We cut up. We have the best time. My little babies love me. And I tell them I love them every single day because I already told them from day one, you're my kiddos during class. I'm going to love you. And I praise them. And I honestly think they get more love virtually than they ever did in the brick and mortar. I can't physically hug them. But when we do have professional development and when we do have our other events, if I see them, I do go hug their neck. So I do get to see them when we have our different, fairs and things like that. But there's so many reasons. Is it stipend? Yes. We get $50 toward our internet per month. We have to, send it in, but we get $50 for that. And there's so many cool things. And you get extra opportunities. Like I'm doing a summer reading camp this summer and there's a stipend for that. So not, if you want to work the summer, yeah. And yes. And they have insurance that we have Cigna. I don't know if everyone else is, we have Cigna. And then is it the 401, Ms. Andrea? Is it a
we do offer 401k, but as far as we don't pay into the state, we have our separate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just
Great
to note.
benefits. Great. And the swag. Every time you go somewhere, you get the coolest swag. Like we get, I don't know if you can see it, little mouse pads and hats and book bags, and they care about you, not just during, Teacher Appreciation Week. You get stuff all year long. You even get note cards from your head of school. You get masks. You get all of these things. I mean, when's the last time you were in brick and mortar and people sent you things like that? I don't remember. I got cookies maybe from a local church. I'm not knocking that, but I've got a lot of stuff. I can say that.
I want to speak to, if you don't mind, the evaluation piece that someone looked like. And Tina, I do want to answer the start for summer school. That's probably not likely. Most of the summer school positions are usually filled internally. But HR friends, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
The thing with teacher evaluation is, and it really depends on your state, but that's where the neuro sessions come in. That's where some, and it depends on your state, allow you either to submit recordings of your teaching based on from neuro, or you can have your administrator attend live and they can see your teaching progress through your neuro sessions. You also get national support with growing in the terms of teacher evaluations. We have some trainings that align across the board to different pieces of those, so that you can really feel like you are set up for success to, when you're evaluated, to do well. How long it takes, it depends on the school and their hiring and where they're at.
I think it took me about a month to 6 weeks when I did it.
Yeah.
Do typically, I think we run at about 4 to 6 weeks that we try to, when we're looking at positions. But yes, it does, depending on the school and what they are looking like. I know as far as schools, they have specific numbers as far as students, so that can vary as how many teachers that they would need.
So when I saw teachers, how often do they test students? If you're meaning like curriculum tests, those are built into the platform. So you can use your small group time to potentially do accommodations or provide adjustments for those. But otherwise, you follow your state testing schedule. So I'm in Ohio. We tested ours in, well, I'm just going to say April-ish because it doesn't really matter exact time. And then I would go out and I would test a group of students. Sometimes it was students I actually had in the classroom. Sometimes it wasn't. But either way, I always loved that time because just seeing the faces was really nice. And then there was one other I saw that I wanted to answer.
Someone said, do we need to submit a current class recording for our interview if you currently teach online?
I wouldn't. I think that's a FERPA violation. I would not. I would look at the HR template that we've created, and I would use that to create a hypothetical lesson.
Someone asked about the resources provided in the program. And do you work with resident educators was the second one.
Yes, resident educators. Jennifer, would you say that infinite resources?
Well, when I did AAA, we had access to the ULS, the Unique Learning System, and plus anything. We all, I probably shouldn't say this, but we all sometimes share passwords and share things to the different, like Enchanted Learning, or any of those little bitty websites that have teacher pay teachers. We all share, and then teachers are wonderful, and they will let us use the position I'm in now. The gen ed teachers actually create the PowerPoints, and I modify the PowerPoints for my resource kits. So we do share a lot of those things. But yes, we have infinite anything, and they're so good. You can be like, hey, I think I want to look into this program. Will you look into it? And a lot of them are really great and be like, okay, we can try it, and see how many people want to do it. So you get more yeses than nos if you want to try something.
Sorry, I was going to talk about the curriculum for dyslexia. That
cover that.
Yeah, that one really depends on school. Some schools have purchased supplementals, others have not, but we have an amazing curriculum in our platform already that has different ways you can adjust it or put in modifications to meet the needs of students as well. Yeah, and some schools do use ULS, or the unique learning system. Mm-hmm.
I also want to say that I do a cooking class that is completely optional, and I've done it. It helps with the life skills, but they let me continue doing it with my kinder babies as an elective, and so they let me run with it, and it's completely optional as long as it's not interfering with my other tasks and duties. And the kids love it because I do it on Fridays, which they don't particularly have classes on Fridays. But the kids love it because they get to have a class, and it's something that they do not have to be academically or do academically well to do the cooking. And I try to make my stuff more for the kinder babies, as in, could you do this without mommy or daddy or your learning coach's help? You know, can we make a sandwich? You know, can we, put make a breakfast pizza? You know, things they don't have to use sharp objects, things they don't have to use heating elements, things of that nature. So at any time, I want to do something, or, and we have virtual field trips too. Most of the time they're like, sure, go for it. Just try to align it with something. So we do that as well. So I have a great school. They let me pretty much, whatever I want to do. The kids love it and they love it, and it's great.
I did want to, one question I asked, we're going to still continue answering questions. I just wanted to put up our upcoming events. And if you haven't followed us, you can follow us on Careers at Stride. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And Courtney also put in the link, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now to join our talent community, so you can stay connected and hear from us about different events that we have. Again, tomorrow, as I stated earlier, we're having our Insight Michigan meet and greet, where you can meet the staff from that school. We'll also have another meet and greet coming up for Ohio Virtual Academy, and that will be on June 8th. We also have another school that we also, it didn't make it to the PowerPoint, but I will share next week. Ohio Digital Learning School will have a meet and greet with them as well. So if there's anyone in Ohio that is on today, be sure to go onto our social media sites to register for those particular meet and greets. And again, those in Michigan, you can register on our site as well.
Shameless plug for the Ohio schools.
Right.
So you'll meet my bestie, Mahaley. She's the academic admin of ODLS. They are a credit recovery school, so they operate very differently. So if you're looking for a school where you are really needed and loved by your students, that's a great one. And then OHVA is the largest Ohio school. They're one of the largest schools in our network. So they are a great one too, very structured and super supportive. So shameless plug for my Ohio schools.
Yeah. So if anyone from Ohio, please register on our site for those meet and greets. You will definitely enjoy it. I did want to ask, I don't think anyone asked it in the chat box, but if you could just give what your day typically looks like for those that are on right now. I know we talked about different pieces of it, but if you could just talk about, Jennifer, like what your day looks like.
Do you want to talk about alternate resource, and I can talk about co-teaching?
Well, okay. Mine, I don't really co-teach right now.
Okay, because I did, so I don't mind if you want to do that, and then I'll.
Okay, so I'll tell you what my typical day looks like now. Now, when I did AAA, I did co-teach, but right now I'm kinder resource, so I'll tell you what my day is now. We use Skype. If you're not familiar, I was not really familiar with it, but that is how, not that they per se keep track of you, but that you are on the clock and you are tending to tasks. So my day starts at 8. I have to be on at 8. And then I normally leave about an hour and a half in the mornings for emails, phone calls, things like that. I do one class in the very beginning. It's an OLS class. It's at 9. And that is just an overview class. Another gen ed teacher runs. I'm just there to any questions or to help with anything. She'll normally read a story, go over if the kids have questions, things like that from their curriculum, their classes. After that, I normally have like a 45-minute reading class. And then after that, I try to give myself about a 15 to 20-minute buffer. Then I'll have a 45-minute math class after that. Depending on the day, I'll do a social skills class for about 45 minutes. And then I'll do a lunch block for myself. And then after that, I would do my one-on-ones, small groups, anything like that that needed to be done for about, I would say, an hour and a half. Normally I have 2 groups that do that. And then the rest of the day, I'm doing emails again, data collection, I'm organizing my materials, getting ready for the next day, creating my PowerPoints. Anything that needs to be done, depends on what time of the year it is. Right now, we're really busy because we're wrapping everything up. So we have a lot of tasks right now. But normally I do math and reading 4 days a week for 45 minutes. I do social skills 1 day a week for 45 minutes. I do the co-teaching 4 days a week, and that's a 30-minute. We try to get all of our classes in before lunch because we feel like the kids kind of drift off after that part. They're just kind of done, especially my kinder babies because they're little. So they're pretty much done. My little ones are pretty much DD, and I have some speech that I work with and some autistic ones. So that's pretty much my day. My Friday, we have a PLC, which is our professional learning committee, where we meet as a whole school, then we break apart into our grade levels, and we talk about what standards we're going to cover the next week, how many kids came to each class, how many did their exit tickets. After that, that's for about maybe an hour. Then I may do my cooking class on Fridays. And then after that, we may have some other kind of continuing education thing that we do in the afternoon. So you have a lot of time, a lot of breaks. It's not back to back to back to back to back. Like I said, I'm not stressed. I'm not. It's wonderful. Neuro is so easy. The parents feel comfortable. I'm comfortable. It is a blessing. It's truly, truly a blessing. So that is my day. When I did co-teach with the more severe students, we would have certain hours. I would co-teach 1 to 2 classes a day during the week, and one would do the curriculum part, and then I might do the activities part or help with the answering the questions part, things like that. So
this question about disabilities you work with, that really, really depends. Most of our schools are public schools, so we run the full continuum of services. So it just depends on where you're assigned and where your students' needs are. I was the opposite of Jennifer. Most of my students were in a co-taught general education classroom where I was the co-teacher. So my small groups, I ran the opposite of you guys. I ran mine in the mornings. So our school, I was able to be just the 8th grade special educator for our inclusion kids. Most of my students had emotional or behavioral issues over academics. So I ran an academic small group at 8:30 in the morning. So I got up and online around 8 because that was our school requirement too, on by 8. I checked my email, get my classroom set up. My kids started coming in. I get mine going. They liked the 8:30. I had very high attendance at that session. And then I usually had 3 co-taught sections of 8th grade math. And then I had optional sessions for my students in the afternoon where they could come in and get extra support for homework help, or sometimes I had some social skills. So it really depends on which position you are in and what your students need and how you set up to meet those needs as part of your team. And then addressing IEP goals, being an 8th grade inclusion, I really tried to make sure mine were all, I like to say, nicely tied up with a bow. I took my power standards from my math class that I knew incorporated or were aspects of my students' IEP goals, so that when I was working on those in my small group, their IEP goals and standards were pretty aligned, because I wanted my students to directly carry that over into the classes, since mine were, again, emotional or behavioral support that I knew could get that carryover. So Laside, I co-taught by planning and building a strong relationship. Justine, as far as class schedule, and Jennifer, you hop in on this one too for sure. Most of the schools, because we serve large populations of students, have somewhat of a structure of how things are going to be. So mine, I knew my co-taught class times, but I could do my small groups in either the morning or the afternoon, but it had to be planned out with my team. So my team found that, our kids had a 9 a.m. math class. By doing small group at 8:30, I could be like, go get in your math class now, get in there. And I could make sure that they were in there and carry that over for them. And that way you're not overlapping, because we also don't want to battle. Math is just as important as working on our IEP goals. So we want to make sure that we're supporting each other as teachers, and we're not conflicting.
And I was going to say, with the disabilities that I cover, because mine are so little, mine are 5. Some of mine have not manifested yet into what they're going to be. Like the emotional, we may not see that just yet. They may call that something else right now. So later on, they would have that. And also with my class, I have more leniency. If I have a parent call me and say, hey, we've got therapy, we've got so-and-so, I can actually, I could move their small group to an hour later, or I've even made it first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock if the parent needed me to, but I have a smaller load. So I was able to do that, because we want our parents to know that this is just as important to us as it is to them. Their child's education is important. But we create our class schedules. We try to do them together and say, hey, when we're doing our professional learning committees, we're like, how are you going to do yours? And we all try to be around the same block times, so we don't overlap each other. So, and we've had some of my kids have sat in on the gen ed classes, and some of the gen ed classes have had some of their kids sit in on mine, just to see would my approach help a little more, So we work very closely together, and we're very friendly with each other. If anybody says, hey, can we try it a different way? Everybody is very loving about it. There's no animosity anywhere. Nobody's better than anybody else. We're all equal. And I love that fact about everything.
Donna Marie, I see your comment in there. And my kids, again, mostly behavioral issues students, but what I love about online is, compared to my brick and mortar, I found we really moved that peer distraction piece, and peers are seen as an opportunity to positively socialize. So that is a big element that's out of the equation for my students that have those challenges. And so, yes, I was able to make significant progress with many of my behavioral students, because I can get them to focus, and I can get them, to grow, and they can have visual cues that they couldn't have in brick and mortar, I found. And so I really do feel like online we focus on academics, where in brick and mortar, I was a little more behavior management.
When I was in brick and mortar with my severe classes, I literally felt like I was restraining all day. And this is just, from my point of view, I was restraining all day, getting hit, getting bit, getting spit at.
If you have a runner, you're grabbing your shoes and jogging.
It was, and they were using the bathroom on the floor. It was to the point I had nothing left for my family. I had nothing left for myself. I would have to come home, change clothes, take a nap to even finish my day. And when I came virtually, I was like, wait a minute, I don't need a nap. I can still do things with my family. I can still cook. I can still do all of these things. And not that the brick and mortar is any less valuable than we are, but, as we all know, special ed teachers have a very fast burnout rate, and versus lose, our professional community, let's just make a linear, move. Virtual is the way that it's going. And as far as my IEP goals go, I try to teach to what the gen ed is doing, and I sprinkle in my IEP goals with it. So I get on my IEP goals every week, just like I'm supposed to, but mine are a little bit smaller, so I still have that room to put that in there with that. But if you're retired and you're wanting another job that you're still doing what you're wanting, still wanting to make that extra paycheck, this is absolutely the way to go. It's, you have support, you have people that want you there. How long did it take me to adapt? Well, when I
2
first,
seconds.
well, when I first came on, I had a little more troubles because my email was mixed up with another email. So it took me a little bit longer. But once they got that fixed, they pair you with a lead teacher. You piggyback, is what they call it, piggyback. You watch them, they help you, you get in there, and then you run with it. They watch you. It is very, 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 very easy. If you remember what it was like to intern, it kind of feels like that in the very, very beginning. You survive that, you'll survive this, and then it's like rainbows and angels singing after that. I mean, it's like, where were you? You know what I'm saying? So if you came into this and you lucked up, this is amazing. They still get therapies, they still get everything the other
services
provide.
Yes.
It's just a different modality. It's just delivered in a different way.
I did see someone ask about paraprofessional opportunities. I know we do, but if you want to touch on
yeah, and I don't know, it's our HR, my friends, if you have more specifics. Not many schools have paraprofessionals. There are a couple schools I know that do.
Right.
But again, when you take a student out of an environment and you switch their setting, they don't always have that need, or they have someone at home that often is a paraprofessional role.
And I did want to have you talk about just the parent-student involvement while teaching virtually, because I know that for our schools, we require a learning coach. If you could explain what that is to them as well.
All right, well, a learning coach is anyone that will sit with the students and provide the necessary help that student may need. It may be a mother, a father, grandmother, aunt, uncle, older sibling.
A neighbor down the street when they're older. Down the street.
It's anybody that will sit with them and help them. And they're not there to do the work for them. They're just maybe to help them stay on task. Or if they can't find the certain button function or something that they need to use, or to assist with the mic if you're having mic problems, or assist with the speakers or any of that, they can help, because sometimes you do have to troubleshoot that when you come on. They are computers, they do need to restart, so you still have tech issues from time to time. I do not use my earphones. I have the one that came with my laptop, but I'd rather it play through, because I use my hands a lot because I'm kinder. So I have noisemakers and I have all kinds of bells and I have, all kinds of stuff that I use for my babies, and they love it. So they do have to, that is something that they try to say, you got to have a working mic, you got to have a, working speakers and things like that. You can mute your students, but they need to speak, because that's one of the ways they can show their understanding of the concepts. Sometimes they do. With the COVID that happened, you did have a higher rate of transfer in and out because of the COVID situation. But we are retaining more than we did last year.
We are, yes, it's true.
Yeah.
We're also school of choice, and so we really retain students that want to be here, which is amazing. I wanted to talk about the future leadership opportunities. And I think that's one of the things that drove me to Stride, is because I felt like in my brick and mortar, you had to go a certain pathway, and I didn't want to be a principal or assistant principal. That doesn't fit my personality. So here online, especially in our larger schools, we have systems of lead teachers or mentor teachers or master teachers. We have managers, special programs managers, special program directors. We have PD facilitators, and some are at the school level, but then you can also move up to a regional or a national level where we have regional special programs managers. And then we have our senior director of special programs who oversees all of us. So we have lots of opportunities to grow. And as a special educator, you don't even have to stay that path. You can also choose, like mine, I went from an instructional coach, whereas one of the few special programs backgrounds, and now I'm on talent development. And like I said, I work with teachers. And so, I work with both gen ed and special education teachers. So there's different ways to grow and in a variety of directions. So that's a really nice thing about our company. And you can look for those positions all the time in the same link that our HR friends have been putting in chat. They also post those there as well. So it's a great opportunity to scope out what is coming. I was an instructional coach, and now we've kind of absorbed that into more of a school level thing.
Thank you. I know we have about a few minutes left, so we can answer some more questions. I think someone was asking I believe she means how does the instructional coach position, how that works.
Those are more of a school-based position now. And basically those support the online instruction of teachers. So I would be surprised if there's any on the site right now. I have a feeling those are probably an internal position because you need to have strong knowledge of the platforms and to be able to guide teachers in growing in their online instruction. But it's definitely possible that you see them.
Let's see, I don't see any further, but if anyone posted anything, but I just wanted to make sure I thank everyone for attending today. Thank you to Jennifer. Thank you to Lena for just sharing your experiences and your input. Again, like we said, it can vary. These positions vary from school to school. So again, they're sharing their experiences that they've had as far as in the different roles that they have acquired through Stride. But we wanted to show you what that looks like. And again, it does vary from state to state, but we want you to, if you are interested to, please go onto our website, look for the different positions by the state and the certification that you have. Again, that's stridelearning.com/careers, where you can apply to our positions. And again, if you haven't followed us, please follow us at Careers at Stride on either Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We post about the different events that are coming up and different tips about things that are going on with us here at Stride. But I wanted to make sure I thanked everyone for coming. And I didn't see any. We're just putting, again, the link to our website and our career page. Again, this was recorded, so if anyone came in, you came in a little bit late or you didn't catch the beginning, you can catch the replay. We will be sending that out later on this week, and we'll also post it to our YouTube page where we post our recordings from our webinars. But again, I do want to thank everybody for joining today. I will be giving you guys a few minutes back to your day. But you will see us next time. Again, if you're in Michigan and if you want to hear more about our Insight Michigan School, please join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time to hear from our admins and teachers from that school. And our next webinar for June will be our What's Your Why. So you'll be able to hear from some more teachers and in different levels, either special education. We have some that may be in talking about high school or middle school. So you get to hear a lot of different experiences from different schools on June 9th. So we hope that you will attend that as well. But again, my name is Andrea Wilson, and this has been another Careers at Stride Presents How to Teach Special Education Virtually at Stride Inc. But I want to thank everyone for attending, and we will see you again next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.